So finally, we're very excited about the recent Pro Day. So last Saturday we did have, or Friday, we did have the NFL Pro Day, Michigan, and 150 NFL personnel, the most maybe ever for Michigan, ever. So
Any pro day.
We're in attendance.
Yep.
Jerry Jones was in attendance. McDaniels was in attendance. We had of course, Jim Harbaugh was repping his M hat, and so we actually have a thank you to Helen Hines Art. We can showcase this. So Jim Harbaugh had said a couple of very interesting quotes, and he basically said about JJ McCarthy, not only were his feet great, individual drills, but then he started throwing, and every throw was right there. That was the best throwing day I've ever seen. Hearing coaches and GMs say, great job with JJ. Once they were around him, I was hearing stories about how he is on the board, on the field, the little things, the intangibles. It was absolutely no surprise whatsoever. And he didn't stop there, because he said, I think JJ is the best quarterback in the draft. So with that said, TJ, is JJ the best quarterback? Do you agree with our former coach Harbaugh about JJ McCarthy and his emergence here in recent weeks in the media?
So respectfully, I don't agree. I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft. I have him ahead of Caleb Williams.
Wow.
I would put Caleb Williams second, but I think JJ, him and Drake May for third. I think you could see the battle there. I think JJ has a lot going for him that you are now seeing with all the scouts, all the coaches. I mean, you see, I don't know if you saw Antonio Pierce's comments. He said he might be the best quarterback in the draft, I believe. So at the coaching meetings, and you have these mocks now where they have JJ going second, and he's going third, he's going top third, they're pushing him ahead of Drake May now. So, I mean, look at that climb. We've been doing shows, John, for the last 2 months. And, in the beginning of January, we were thinking, okay, maybe end of the first round. Nope. Top 15. Nope. Top 10. No, we're looking top 5 now. Okay.
Yeah. And Washington number 2, maybe.
Yeah, there's rumors that Washington might take him at number 2 ahead of Jaden Daniels, which is crazy to me. But, hey, if they like him, they like him. And, prove me wrong. That's fine. I have no issue with that. I root for JJ. And it's amazing to see this climb and this rise of JJ McCarthy. So, we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, I mean, as an analytics person, I would say his denominator is smaller than the others, right? But if you look at the numerator over the denominator, he's right up there. And 2 plays are kind of etched in my mind. One is that one-handed catch that he made in the Alabama game that had to show amazing athleticism. And then a split second later, he had to throw that on a dime as he's getting crushed. I don't think I've ever seen a Michigan quarterback do anything close to that, right? No. The other is actually, I think it was against Iowa, where he handed the ball off to Corum. So he didn't even pass the ball. He was just handed off the ball to Corum. Then he went up the sideline and he beat the entire defense. I think it was Iowa. He beat the entire defense, kind of ran around the defenders, beat Corum, and then blocked 2 guys. And yeah, I mean, it's not a passing play, but first of all, it shows his speed, but his game speed. It also shows how much of a team player he is. I mean, how many quarterbacks would just hand off? That's the end of it, the play for them. They wouldn't even think that I need to block for somebody 30 yards down the field. That's what he did. He blocked 30 yards down the field, enabling Corum to get I think it was an over 60-yard running play. I mean, it just shows the intangibles that are there. He's got all the throws. He can roll right, and it appears like he's about to run. And then just as he gets to the line of scrimmage, he can throw it, right? So he learned how to do that in the last year. He can also roll left, which is very difficult for quarterbacks to do, and then kind of turn around, plant, and then be able to throw as well. So It's not just the intangibles. It's, there's some very specific plays that he can make that just seem way above his age of just turning 21. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think Harbaugh might be hyping up a little bit because they pick 5. If quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, then, Harbaugh kind of said that it's almost like we have the first pick in the draft, so, but I don't think that's all of it. I do believe that he's sincere when he's making that point, though, that JJ he thinks that JJ is the best quarterback in the draft.
And whether you look at the 2021 Western Michigan crazy across the body pass, or you look at even what happened in the pro day when he threw a 60-yard pass to not even a wide receiver, Blake Corum, a running back, showcasing his receiving ability. So the two other things I wanted to mention about the pro day is that we actually they allowed Blake Corum to really put on a show in the receiving game, and Mikey Sanderstill was allowed to do both his defensive position as well as take snaps at wide receiver and do wide receiver drills as well. So with that said, how did you think that went in terms of showcasing what Corum and Sanderstill could do on in multiple positions there, TJ?
Well, I think for Sanderstill, it's a little bit bigger because he's being, projected to be a nickelback cornerback in the NFL. And I think his stock is rising. And I think it was huge for him to get that opportunity to get wide receiver reps, because the reason why he got that opportunity is because there was a wide receiver who pulled up lame with his hamstring. So they let Sanderstill be the other wide receiver for JJ. And I think, it just shows his hands. It shows his ability. It shows him as an athlete. I mean, I think it's huge. And Blake Corum, obviously, when you are a versatile running back and you're more than a one-trick pony, because it's very limiting in the NFL. A running back can only run. If you can't pass block or you can't catch the ball, the defense knows what's happening, right? And it's very limiting. And that's like you see teams like Chicago. That's why they have 3 different backs who can do 3 different things, because Khalil Herbert can't pass block. You get these things, but with Blake Corum, you can do all 3. So. I do think Blake Corum will be a 3rd-round pick, because typically that's the market for running backs. But Sanderstill, you might see go in the 2nd round.
Ferris?
Actually, I was going to say exactly the same thing. I was going to say that Blake Corum, to me, looks like a 3rd-round pick. Sanderstill is actually... if you go to our lads right now, they've got him as a green, which means a 1st or 2nd round. But he's not going to be a 1st-round pick, I don't think, but a 2nd-round pick. So, I think both players are going to do well. I would not be surprised if Jim Harbaugh takes Corum.
Yeah.
With Eckler, with the running back situation at the Chargers, he's gone. Yeah. So Blake Corum has a shot to be the starting running back, potentially.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Do either of you know why JJ didn't run the 40? Because he didn't do it in the combine either. It's kind of interesting that there is no kind of official score on him running.
No, I don't know, and that is interesting. I didn't notice that. You would think you would want him to run, considering he's a mobile quarterback. So that's interesting. No, I don't know. I didn't hear anything on that.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it. I noticed that there was only one quarterback. I think it was wasn't it Hartman that ran the 40. He was the only one in that group that decided to run it, which was really interesting. JJ did root him on, though, which was very cool. He's always that kind of guy. He roots everybody on. But yeah, it was interesting. The thing
Stan is mentioning that he had a tight hamstring. I know that was the case. That was the case during the combine. That was the official reason, but
okay.
I didn't know if that was an official reason or just kind of a, hey, I'm going to do it during pro day, which he didn't. So yeah.
And the other, and the combine in general, like, I understand why people sit out of the combine. I get it. Because, I know it's not as relevant for the 40, but just in general, you don't have the chemistry with the people that you're, executing the the potential, whatever that piece is, right? So like JJ or Michael Penix or whoever they're throwing to receivers with maybe one or two times we saw JJ throwing to one of the Michigan people, and one or two times we saw Penix throwing to Adunze, maybe. But other than that, they're all throwing to people who they've probably never connected with ever. And at least with Pro Day, on the other hand, they are throwing to their people. Right. So it emulates more the fact that in the NFL, you have camp. You have a bunch of time. And even, I said this, I think last week or at some point, Tom Brady was notorious for playing backyard football with some of his receivers. And in the run up to the 2020 Super Bowl run, he didn't just throw during the camps, but apparently he was out tossing the ball to Gronk in the backyard. And these are the types of things that they do, especially when it's year one. So in my view, I understand there can be some value to the combine if you're on the bubble, but I feel like the Pro Day just gives you a little bit more of a sense of what they can actually be like with people that they have chemistry with. What do you think about that, TJ?
Yeah, I think I agree with that, especially for the quarterback position. I think other positions, like running back or defensive line or offensive line, linebacker, it's a little more important to be at the combine as long as you're not nursing an injury. But for a quarterback, I think I would have to agree with that position.
Yeah, I agree as well. Actually, if you look at some of the passes, it was it seemed like the quarterbacks were just trying to air it out on some of the combine passes versus quote unquote get completions, get a play.
Just bomb it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And look, I mean, fun to watch. And certainly I definitely paid more attention to the quarterbacks throughout, whereas with the other position groups, I definitely admit I was guilty of a lot of times fast forwarding to the Michigan players. But for the quarterbacks, I was watching the whole damn thing because I enjoyed seeing Michael Penix lob it and Bo Nix and all of them that decided to do it. Joe Milton. Yeah. And Xavier, how about Xavier Worthy as one final example? Just somebody who it could have been with the Michigan Wolverines. And then he just does what he ran. He was the, I believe he had the record for the 40. It was the 40 that he had the record for. Just an incredible player.
Yeah, one interesting side note about that is, and the NFL just changed their rules for kickoffs. And a player like that is much more valuable than otherwise would have been on special teams. So it'd be interesting to see if some of these really speedy guys end up getting drafted a little bit earlier.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
Absolutely.